Before 5:55 tomorrow morning, a hidden letter, a family secret, and a message from Archangel Michael they thought you'd never find out. Watch this immediately. Before 5:55 a.m. tomorrow morning, a bell lifts. Not by chance, not by human orchestration, but by divine command. The ancient realms stir. Heaven's watchers lean in. The silence that hovered for years is being pierced now by the sword of revelation. There is a reason you're hearing this, and there is a reason it's happening now. The timing is divine, precise, intentional. Before the light of morning breaks tomorrow, a shift will occur, not just around you, but within you. Something once locked in darkness, buried deep beneath years of silence and shadow, will stir. It is the hour of uncovering. It is the moment of spiritual reckoning. There is a letter, fragile, yet explosive, written in secrecy, kept from you deliberately, hidden within the folds of time, sealed in shame and fear. This letter was never meant for you to see, at least not by those who concealed it. But the heavens have declared otherwise. This ink carries the weight of broken oaths and forgotten truths. Its words, though silent on paper, scream with betrayal, sorrow, and liberation. And now that silence is being shattered, Archangel Michael, the one who guards the gates of righteousness, the one who wars not with words but with eternal fire, has spoken. He has waited for this precise moment to break his silence, because what is contained in that letter isn't just paper and ink. It is the ignition point of your rising. The divine waited until your soul was strong enough, until your discernment was sharp enough, until your spirit could carry what your past could not. They thought it would save Barry. They thought you'd never find out. They thought their whispers and concealment would erase the truth. But they did not count on divine intervention. They did not account for the warrior within you, the one chosen to stand, to see, and to speak. This is not a coincidence. This is a spiritual appointment. A heavenly orchestration has pulled you here, right now, at this very hour. You didn't stumble onto this message, you were summoned. The heavens have been waiting for you to awaken to this moment. But let it be known, this message isn't for the curious. This message isn't for the casual hearer. This message is for the called, for the consecrated, for the courageous. If you are listening, you are not here by accident. You are here because the realms of eternity have deemed you ready. Ready to see, ready to know, ready to remember, ready to reclaim what was hidden in shadows, ready to unlock what fear tried to bind, ready to step into a revelation that others tried to keep from you. The time is now, not tomorrow, not later. Before 5:55 a.m., the letter calls, the truth beckons, and Archangel Michael stands, watching over this moment, sword drawn, flame lit, wings expanded. The silence is over. The shift begins. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1516 is now activated. The final guardian has spoken, and he calls you by name. This is not a gentle whisper. This is a thunder in the soul. This is Archangel Michael, commander of the heavenly hosts, watcher of secrets, breaker of deception, stepping forward. He does not move unless heaven commands it. He does not speak unless the time is holy. And now, at this very hour, he speaks. Within the next few hours, a shift begins. Not in theory, not in imagination, in truth, in divine timing, in sacred reality. The air will thicken. The winds will change. You may not see it with the eyes of flesh, but your spirit will feel it, like a storm forming on the inside. This moment is not like the others. This is a spiritual appointment. Heaven held council. Yes, a sacred gathering of watchers, elders, angels, and scribes, and your name was whispered. Your name. Not someone else's. Not a bystander. Yours. Because there is something written in that hidden letter, something tethered to your name, something bound to your inheritance, that the spirit world has kept guarded until now. And the silence that has echoed for decades is being broken. Not by accident, not by curiosity, but by divine necessity. His message is a summons, a sacred calling to rise from confusion, to ascend from ignorance, to awaken from inherited sleep. Someone kept this letter from you, and not just anyone. Someone who knew its weight, someone who feared its release, someone who believed you'd never find it. But what they did not understand, what they could never understand, is that heaven does not forget, and heaven does not lose track of the chosen. It waits, it watches, and when the time comes, it unlocks what man tried to bury. You were chosen to know, not them. You were selected to carry the truth, not conceal it. They built walls of silence. You were born to tear them down. They buried history. You were made to resurrect it. So now, Archangel Michael calls for stillness. Not a stillness of passivity, but a holy reverence. A readiness. A focused silence. You cannot carry the message if your spirit is noisy. You cannot hear the revelation if your soul is scattered. Zit. Reem. Listen. Be still. Let the sacred atmosphere form around you now. Heaven is not casual. It does not cast pearls before swine. It reveals treasures to the consecrated. This is why this message isn't for everyone. This is why it feels like it's piercing directly into your heart. This is why it feels like a spotlight is shining into your very soul. Because in it, and because you are ready, this is a holy moment. This is a divine unlock. And now, the guardian of God's fire stands beside you and says clearly, what they thought would stay hidden, I now bring to light. Type I am chosen in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 999 is now surrounding you. They buried the letter, but not the truth. It begins in a forgotten place. A dusty attic. A door jammed shut for decades. A sealed box behind old photographs and silent frames. The air around it feels heavy, almost sacred, like it knows what it holds. You find it by what seems like accident, but heaven knows better. You were drawn there, guided by invisible hands, because the moment had finally come. And as your fingers trace the edge of that envelope, faded, yellowed, trembling with time, a question hits your spirit like a lightning bolt. Why now? Why now, after all these years? Why now, when so much has been buried, denied, rewritten? Why now, when you had finally settled into forgetting? Because the truth has a voice. Because destiny has a cluck. Because your blood remembers what your mind forgot. The weight of the letter is more than just paper. It is emotion. It is betrayal. It is years of silence, generations of lies, and a conspiracy of omission. Someone, perhaps a parent, a grandparent, a sibling, someone who sat beside you at dinner tables and family gatherings, kept this from you. They smiled in your face. They spoke in riddles. They chained the subject. And now the puzzle pieces click into place. The awkward glances. The stammering answers. The people who grew distant when you asked too many questions. It wasn't just coincidence. It wasn't just bad memory. It was protection, but not for you. They were guarding a legacy built on lies. They were defending a truth that would dismantle the family narrative. They thought if they kept you out of the light, they could keep the illusion intact. But this wasn't just a letter. This was a lockbox. A sacred container. A chamber of destiny sealed by fear. And now that seal is cracking open. Inside the letter, truths that rewrite stories. Confession that break open generational curses. Names you weren't supposed to know. Timelines that no longer match. Decisions that affected your identity, made without your knowledge, without your voice. And the pain you feel now. That swirling mix of rage, sadness, and confusion. That's the emotional backlash of spiritual awakening. The letter didn't just reveal a secret. It cracked open a dam. This moment is meant to disrupt. It's meant to shake you. Because comfort cannot coexist with divine truth. The Spirit does not whisper in rooms of denial. It roars in rooms of revelation. And now you know. You can't unsee it. You can't unread it. You can't go back to pretending. The letter is here. And so is your awakening. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type "I receive truth" in the comments. Blessing code 777 has now been assigned to your season. The war was never flesh, it was always spirit. You need to understand something now. What you're facing didn't start with them. It did begin with hands that hid the letter, or lips that denied your questions. This battle is older, deeper, rooted in a spiritual war that has stretched across generations. The conflict you are stepping into is not about a hidden piece of paper. It is about the unseen contracts in your bloodline, the agreements made in silence, the covenants forged in fear. The letter was delayed by darkness. It wasn't merely misplaced or forgotten. It was cloaked, governed, guarded by spiritual resistance. Because what it carries isn't just family secrets, it carries spiritual authority. Authority that was yours from the beginning, but denied, suppressed, and hidden by those who were too afraid to release it. The moment that letter surfaces, the moment your eyes meet its words, a door in the spiritual realm swings open. And that door does not close quietly. You were not meant to just read this message. You were meant to break something. You are not just a descendant. You are a divine interrupter. A curse breaker. A system shifter. A truth teller anointed to restore what was fractured. You see, your bloodline is not just DNA. It is covenant. It carries blessings, but it also carries burdens. And while some in your line honored the call, others broke it. And those broken pieces, they've echoed down to you. The silence, the confusion, the feeling like something was off all along, that was your spirit discerning the fracture. The pain you've carried, that was not just emotional, it was prophetic pressure. It was your soul mourning for what was stolen before you were even born. This is why Archangel Michael had been watching, not with idle interest, but with warrior readiness. Because what was buried in secrecy was guarded in the spirit. And now, as heaven has declared that the appointed time has come, Michael steps aside to hand you the sword. This truth is not meant to crush you. It is meant to crown you. But be warned, Truth comes with weight. What you do next will determine the doors that open. What you accept, what you confront, what you speak or stay silent about. These are not minor choices. These are spiritual keys. This isn't about revenge. It's about release. You cannot avenge what heaven has already marked for reversal. Your only task now is obedience. And obedience means acknowledging the spiritual battle behind the scenes, recognizing that it wasn't just a person who kept this from you. It was a principality using them as a shield. Because if you ever found out the truth, a chain would break, and the enemy knew it. You are not a Kahuli. You are a key. This letter, this revelation, this rising, it is your divine awakening. And now, heaven watches your next move. Because what happens next doesn't just affect you. It alters the timeline of generations to come. You are standing in a spiritual courtroom. The verdict is waiting on your voice. Type "I am a curse breaker" in the comments if this confirms what you feel. Lesson code 444 is unlocking divine justice. The vibration is felt, and they are nervous. Now that the veil has been pierced, now that your spirit has seen what your eyes have read, understand this: the energy has shifted, and others can feel it. They may not know you found the letter, but they feel the vibration in the spirit. A sudden shift in atmosphere. The unease. A disruption. Spiritual frequencies don't lie. And the moment you were awakened, the echo went out into the realm of shadows. Someone knows. Someone who has guarded this lie. Someone who benefited from your blindness. Someone who built their comfort on your confusion. They are feeling the quake of exposure, and they are preparing to act. An elder, a distant relative, a hidden player in the background. Someone is about to make a move, not out of courage but out of fear. Expect it. Do not be surprised if within the next 72 hours you receive a call, a message, or even an unexpected visit. But hear this: do not answer in emotion. Michael commands, stand still. Speak slow. Discern deeply. This is not the time for confrontation in the flesh. This is a spiritual standoff. And if you let your emotions take the lead, they will twist the narrative. They will paint you as unstable. They will try to make you doubt what you read, what you felt, what you know. Do not let their fear infect your peace. Heaven has delayed nothing. Only you can pause what is unfolding. Archangel Michael warns, they may not admit, but they will react. And in their reaction, their guilt will reveal itself. The truth is, they expected this moment, they just didn't know when. That's why some have kept their distance. That's why certain conversations always hit a wall. They've been preparing for the day you'd find the door. And now that you have, they are scrambling to hide the key. This is why your posture must be one of calm fire, righteous silence, holy restraint. Because your power now is in observation, not accusation. Mark the calendar. The next 72 hours are crucial. The spiritual clock is ticking, and every move you make echoes in the courts of heaven. You are being watched, not just by those in flesh, but by those in spirit. And heaven is recording how you carry this moment. Let them speak. Let them squirm. Let them try to twist. But let your truth stand untouched. This is your test. And how you hold yourself here determines what doors open next. If this message resonates with you and you feel led to support, consider giving a super thanks of $10. Your offering helps fuel the sacred content. Type "I will not be moved" in the comments. Blessing code 888 is your shield in this hour. Say nothing. Just watch. The natural impulse is to speak, to confront, to question, to demand answers. But Archangel Michael says, say nothing. Just watch. Your silence now is not weakness. It is warfare. It is spiritual precision. And this is your season not to shout but to see, to discern, to gather, to spiritually observe what the eyes alone cannot comprehend. There is something sacred about silence. When the atmosphere is charged with deception, truth moves quietly. When the air is filled with manipulation, heaven whispers in stillness. You are being called into sacred observation. You are being summoned into the watchtower of your spirit. This isn't a time for outbursts, it's a time for alignment. They expect you to react. They expect you to spiral. But Archangel Michael is training you for strategy, not spectacle. Don't show your hand until heaven reveals theirs. Every step you take now must be divinely led. Your silence is your sword. Your stillness is your strategy. Go into prayer, not casual prayer. Consecrated, focused, locked in prayer. Light a candle. Shut the door. Remove distractions. Speak with heaven. Ask no one else for advice in this moment. You are in divine communion now, and the guidance you need will not come from man. It will come from spirit. Archangel Michael now imparts 3 protective affirmations. Declare these daily, not from the throat, but from the soul. I am shielded by divine fire. Oh, I can touch my truth. My silence carries the roar of heaven. I move only by instruction, not emotion. Let these become your shield. Let them guard your mornings and settle your nights. Because what is forming around you now is more than just emotional revelation. It is spiritual positioning. You are being shifted into your rightful place in the timeline of destiny, and the enemy would love nothing more than to derail you with distraction. This is why you must remain guarded. Your phone, your inbox, your social media. These are all spiritual portals in this hour. Be cautious of what you respond to. Watch what you engage in. Your spiritual armor must remain intact, especially in the unseen. You may feel eyes watching you. You're not wrong, but you are not alone. Even now, angelic presence is assigned to you. In your bedroom, there are warriors standing guard at the corners of your sleep. In your vehicle, there are sentinels seated beside you. As you hold your phone, angelic light surrounds the screen, intercepting every fiery dart meant to wound you. You are being divinely surveilled, not for punishment but for protection. You are not outnumbered. You are not uncovered. What you feel is the tension of spiritual warfare because your truth is too powerful to remain contained. This letter you found, this sacred uncovering, has disrupted realms, and that disruption is exactly what was needed to shift the atmosphere. So hold your posture, hold your fire, hold your silence. You are not just surviving this, you are learning how to command from stillness. You are becoming a spiritual strategist, and that terrifies the enemy more than any words you can speak. Type I am shielded in the comments. Blessing code 3131 is sealing your environment in divine protection. You're not the scared child anymore. There was a time when you would have crumbled. A time when this truth would have broken you. When hearing the lies, seeing the deception, reading the hidden letter would have shattered your spirit. But look at you now, standing in the full weight of truth and not sinking. You're not the scared child anymore. That version of you, the one that stayed silent, that feared rocking the boat, that lived for approval, has been laid to rest. Because the fire has come, and fire never leaves anything the same. This is not a breakdown. This is a burning away. The fire is real, not physical flames but spiritual ones. Flames that consume lies, incinerate shame, and purify identity. The fire has been burning inside you for months, maybe even years. You felt it every time a conversation didn't sit right. Every time you looked around your family and felt like an outsider. Every time your intuition screamed while others gasped at your discernment. That was the fire of truth building within you. And now, it has risen. You are not who you were. You are not who they said you were. You are becoming. You are expanding. You are evolving into the one thing they feared, an awakened heir. Because this letter did not just find you. Your spirit summoned it. Your prayers, your inner cries, your sleepless nights, they stirred the heavens. They moved angels. They opened old archives of truth that had dust on them for decades. You pulled this revelation into your present through divine longing. The Spirit always responds to the seeker, and you have been seeking, even when you didn't know what for. This is your elevation moment. This is when the ashes under your feet turn into platforms. This is when the pain you carried becomes the path you walk upon. Every tear has watered your future. Every rejection has cleared your lane. You are stepping into divine compensation. Not as a victim, but as a vessel. They didn't expect this. They didn't see you rising. They didn't see you confronting the past and still walking in power. They didn't imagine you'd stare down the lie and say, "I'm still here." But you were. And now, the authority flows. The oil is pouring. The inheritance is speaking. Your voice is no longer silenced. Your wings are no longer clipped. Heaven has branded you with spiritual ownership. You don't beg for answers, you command alignment. You don't chase truth, you embody it. The letter may have been the match, but you are the flame. And as you burn, let every limitation fall off. Let every lie melt away. Let every false narrative collapse under the weight of your revelation. You were born for this confrontation. You were called for this clarity. You are chosen for this moment. If this message speaks to you and you feel led to support, consider sending a super chat of $20. Your contribution ignites more messages like this for the awakened and the anointed. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the Support Here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type "I am risen" in the comments. Blessing code 2020 is unlocking your elevation season. Because your promotion could not rest on a lie. There is a reason this letter did not reach your hands until now. There is a reason heaven allowed it to stay hidden, buried, sealed behind time and tears. Because what was written inside it, if revealed too soon, could have destroyed you. You were not late in finding it. You were protected. You were not delayed. You were being divinely timed. Archangel Michael stands now and declares, your promotion could not rest on a lie. Heaven refused to build your next chapter on fractured foundations. What men tried to manipulate, heaven waited to purify. And now, the purging is complete. The revelation has arrived. Not for entertainment, not for emotional collapse, but for elevation. This is not about exposing the past. This is about securing your future. You needed to know the truth, not because it changes what happened, but because it reclaims who you are. This is not about history. This is about inheritance. This is not about drama. This is about destiny. The hidden letter wasn't just a revelation. It was an alignment tool. It unlocks what could not be released while the deception was still in power. The blessings delayed are now being unsealed. There are things you prayed for that didn't manifest. There were promises spoken over your life that seemed to vanish. It wasn't because you weren't worthy. It wasn't because God was silent. It was because something was out of alignment, and heaven refused to allow a distorted foundation to hold your divine throne. The letter restores the alignment. It resets the record. It clarifies what confusion once corrupted. You see, heaven recorded their silence. Every moment they withheld, every attempt to erase the truth. It was not missed. Angels wrote it down. The courts of justice in heaven took note. And your cries, your ache for clarity, your spiritual restlessness, that wasn't just pain. It was the echo of heaven responding to your calling. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared. You were being positioned. And now, something has shifted. The blessing that was paused is now in motion. The inheritance that was blocked is now flowing. The doors that were closed have been commanded to open. Because the veil has lifted, and the truth has been spoken. What they meant for silence has become your sound of victory. Let every voice that once lied fall silent. Let every shadow that tried to hide this truth be exposed. This is your bloodline shift. Heaven is rewriting what men buried. The curse is reversed. The covenant is renewed. The truth is restored. And you, beloved, are no longer walking in confusion. You are stepping in clarity. You are no longer seeking. You are claiming. You are no longer surviving. You are ascending. The letter was never just a message. It was a mirror. It showed you who you are, where you come from, and where you're going. And now, with heaven's authority and Michael's fire behind you, you step fully into the knowing. Because your name was on that scroll long before their silence was written. Type "I claim my inheritance" in the comments. Blessing code 717 has now been released over your household. Say yes to the truth, and heaven will say yes to you. This is the moment you either step into your destiny or allow the weight of their silence to continue defining your story. Archangel Michael now stands not behind you, but beside you, holding the sword of clarity, waiting for your answer, not from your lips, but from your life. Destiny does not respond to hesitation. Destiny does not wait for perfection. Destiny moves when you say yes. Say yes to the truth. Say yes to what you now know. Say yes to the fire within that refuses to be dimmed. Say yes to the alignment you feel pulling your heart forward. You don't need all the details, you need obedience. You don't need approval, you need authority. You've always had it, but now it demands expression. Heaven does not force alignment. It invites it. It waits for your voice. This is why journaling is so crucial in this hour. Write it down. Put the revelation to paper. Speak what you uncovered. Claim it. Own it. Even if the voices around you try to silence it again, you must not go mute. Because heaven is not waiting for apologies. Heaven is waiting for declarations. Speak it in the mirror. I claim my truth. I command my future. I walk in divine authority. This is the real activation. Not loud emotions. Not angry confrontations. Commanded alignment. Boundaries must now be established, not out of bitterness, but out of sacred clarity. You are not chasing explanations anymore. You are not begging for conversations. You are not reaching back into the tombs of the past looking for the living. You are walking forward. This is where you become the architect of your legacy. This is where you refuse to let confusion write your narrative. This is where you stop accommodating what heaven has exposed. Your yes to truth is not just a yes to revelation. It's a yes to responsibility. You must protect your time. Protect your energy. Guard your name. You are no longer allowed to shrink in rooms where your spirit was designed to shine. You are no longer permitted to play small so others can stay comfortable. You are a truth carrier now, and with it comes heavenly backing and earthly shifting. Heaven is watching, not with judgment, but with expectation, waiting for you to declare, I will no longer be held hostage by what I didn't know. I now know, and I will now move. Do not delay. Do not doubt. Zeb. Speak. Align. The blessing is waiting on the other side of your obedience. If this divine message awakens something in your soul, and you feel led to bless the work, consider clicking Super Thanks with a gift of $20. It helps us continue to produce content that carries weight, truth, and deliverance. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the Support Here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Type I walk in divine authority in the comments. Blessing code 5656 has now activated your path of power. While you grieved in silence, heaven was plotting your justice. There are things moving in the spirit realm right now that cannot be captured by the eyes, cannot be defined by words, and cannot be explained by logic. While you grieved in silence, heaven was conspiring for justice. While you wrestled with questions, angels were rearranging the chessboard of destiny. While you sat in confusion, the spirit realm began to whisper, it is time. This is the silent exchange. An invisible trade between the weight you carried and the inheritance they tried to bury. Something sacred has shifted behind the veil. And if you listen closely, not with your ears, but with your spirit, you will feel it. Something precious is returning to you, and it's coming without their permission. You were not left out of the truth. You were preserved from the lie. And now that preservation has become revelation. But there's more. This is not just about a letter. This is not just about secrets coming to the surface. This is about what's happening around you when no one is watching. When the house is quiet. When the lights go off. When the dreams become vivid. That is when the exchange takes place. At night, when you lie in bed and feel restless for no reason, that is your spirit receiving downloads. When you hear your name in the wind, when you wake up and feel like something left or entered the room, that's not paranoia. That's spiritual exchange. Heaven is handing things back to you. Things stolen. Things delayed. Things broken. Things promised. Your ancestors. The ones who walked in silence. The ones who never found their voice. The ones who were silenced by tradition, fear, shame. They are stirring. They see the moment. They recognize the opening. And some of them are now moving to speak on your behalf. This is not ancestor worship. This is spiritual reconciliation. Heaven honors those who suffered so that you could rise. And now, they are testifying in the court of heaven, saying, let it be restored. The dreams you are having, the people showing up in visions, the sudden flashbacks from your childhood, these are not random. These are downloads, evidence, memories encoded with purpose. You are being made aware so that you can reclaim with clarity. And Archangel Michael watches, not from afar but from beside you, guarding the exchange, ensuring that what is being returned to you is not contaminated. He does not allow recycled lies. He allows holy restoration. It permits only what has been refined in the fire of heaven. Some of what is coming back to you is intangible. Peace that was stolen, confidence that was shattered, voice that was silenced, fire that was suppressed. But some of it is tangible, opportunities that will appear, resources that suddenly show up, messages from unexpected sources, shifts in people who once ignored you. This is the beauty of the silent exchange. You don't have to announce it for it to be real. Heaven moves in silence so the enemy cannot intercept it. The moment you stepped into truth, the exchange began. One thing left your life, and another entered. That's why you've been feeling both loss and clarity at once. It's the hand of heaven taking what was never yours and replacing it with what was always promised. You don't have to fight for this. You just have to stay in alignment. You don't have to chase it. You only need to receive it. It's already yours. Type "I receive what was mine" in the comments. Blessing code 9191 has been stamped on your restoration. What was meant to break you will now build you. They didn't know who they were hiding the truth from. They didn't know they were burying it inside someone who was marked by heaven, someone whose name was whispered in the divine archives, someone who could not stay silent forever. They didn't realize they were planting a seed of justice every time they tried to suppress you. And now, what was meant to break you will build you. The scales have tipped. The scrolls are unsealing. The chains are breaking. Divine justice has entered the room. Not the kind that seeks revenge, but the kind that reorders what man distorted. Not the kind that cries out with anger, but the kind that moves in holy precision. Archangel Michael now lifts the sword. He declares that justice is not coming. Justice has arrived. Those who conspired against you, knowingly or unknowingly, will witness your rising. Not because you forced it, not because you proved anything, but because heaven willed it. Those who silenced truth, those who twisted narratives, those who sat in meetings and spoke your name without revelation, they will now sit in silence as heaven exalts what they tried to erase. Now the hidden remains hidden forever. Heaven has a schedule. Truth has a pulse. And every false word spoken is now being dismantled by the thunder of divine exposure. You will not need to clear your name. Heaven has already done it. You will not need to prove the letter is real. Heaven will confirm it. You will not need to fight for what's yours. Heaven has released it. And now, the divine reversal begins. Last shall be first. The quiet one will now speak. The overlooked one will now lead. The shamed one will now shine. The one they tried to dismiss has become the one heaven is promoting. You will walk past those who once ignored your presence. You will speak over those who once questioned your purpose. You will carry a mantle they were never qualified to touch. But hear this. This is not about revenge. This is about restoration. You were never called to throw stones. You were called to build altars. This justice is not about their downfall. It's about your rising. Because when heaven restores, it never leaves room for bitterness. It replaces the ashes with authority. It turns the ruins into royal ground. You are stepping into reversed realities. Where you were once rejected, you will be requested. Where you were once silenced, you will be sought. Where you were once afraid, you will now carry fire. This is what happens when heaven steps into the timeline. It rewrites everything. And Archangel Michael, he's no longer just your guardian. He is your witness. He testifies to the war you fought in silence. He bears record of the nights you cried without language. And now, he walks behind you, sword drawn, wings expanded, as a sign that your path is protected and your name is cleared. Let the scrolls be opened. Let the records be read. Let every witness arise, because heaven is declaring, this one walks in divine justice. Type justice is mine in the comments. Blessing code 3030 is now etched into your breakthrough. By 5:55 tomorrow, everything changes. So now it has been spoken. The hidden letter revealed. The family's secret unearthed. The silent truth given a voice. And you, the one they never expected, have stood in the fire and emerged untouched. You did not collapse. You did not retreat. You rose. And with that rising, heaven has taken record. Archangel Michael, the mighty guardian of divine justice, now lifts his voice in final affirmation. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. No more hiding. No more thinking. No more begging for what was always yours. The veil is torn. The silence is broken. The alignment is in motion. You are no longer walking through life with a fractured identity. You are walking in full, holy awareness of who you are and whose you are. What was meant to keep you bound has now become the key. The pain they tried to bury became your anointing oil. The secret they hoped would die has become the prophecy that lives. Everything that once stood between you and your elevation has now been removed by the hand of heaven. Let this be your closing affirmation. I am divinely restored. I am spiritually aligned. I am walking in my rightful place. Feel the shift. Tense the stillness. Heaven is now in agreement with your voice. The earth will respond. The atmosphere will obey. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are walking in power. So, what happens now? You guard your peace. You protect your truth. You walk in reverence. And you prepare. Because by 5:55 a.m. tomorrow, heaven will initiate the next phase. A divine dispatch. A new revelation. A confirmation so personal it will shatter your doubt. This is not just the end of a chapter. This is the beginning of authority. The unfolding of inheritance. The sealing of your anointing. Walk boldly. Speak slowly. Move spiritually. You are covered. You are called. You are chosen. Type I am sealed in the comments. Final blessing code 1212 now completes this holy message.